Hello, hello, bonum mane, bonum dies, and bonum nocte. Welcome back. I kind of wanted to do a video where I could whisper, or kind of like at least soft speak, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Elliot. This is the stuff that Cats is based off of, and I think we all remember how 2019 ended with that terrible remake coming out, so I'm not saying it's indicative of anything, but cats. So I thought I could flip through, maybe pick a few stories to read, and we could have a nice relaxing story time. We're all too old to be having story time. Ah! Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Elliot. Drawings by Edward Gorey. The naming of cats. The naming of cats is a difficult matter. It isn't just one of your holiday games. You may think at first I'm mad as a hatter when I tell you a cat must have 3 different names. First of all, there's the name that the family used daily, such as Peter, Augustus, Alonzo, or James, such as Victor or Jonathan, George or Bill Bailey, all of them sensible, everyday names. There are fancier names if you think they sound sweeter, some for the gentlemen, some for the dames, such as Plato. I can't pronounce things, so I'm sorry. Admetus, Electra, Demeter, but all of them sensible, everyday names. But I tell you, a cat needs a name that's particular, a name that's peculiar, and more dignified, else how can he keep up his tail perpendicular, or spread out his whiskers, or cherish his pride? Of names of this kind, I can give you a quorum, such as Muncustrap, Quaxo, or Coricopat, such as Bombalurina or Jellicle. Names that never belong to more than one cat, but above and beyond, there's still one name left over, and that is the name that you never will guess, the name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in rapt contemplation of the thought of the thought of the thought of his name, his inevitable, effable, deep and inscrutable, singular name. And I want to show you this nice little the old Gumby Cat. I have a Gumby Cat and mine. Her name is Jenny Any Dots. Her coat is of the tabby kind with tiger stripes and leopard spots. All day she sits upon the stair, or on the steps, or on the mat. She sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes a Gumby Cat. But when the day's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumby Cat's work is but hardly begun. And when all the family's in bed and asleep, she slips down the stairs to the basement to creep. She pursued his evil aims, rejoicing in the title of the Terror of the Thames. His manners and appearance did not calculate to please. His coat was torn and seedy, he was baggy at the knees. One ear was somewhat missing, no need to tell you why. And he scowled upon a hostile world from one forbidding eye. The cottagers of Rotherthith, English pronunciation of like England things is hard. Anyways, the cottagers of Rotherthith knew something of his fame at Hammersmith and Putney, and people shuddered at his name. They would fortify the henhouse, lock up the silly goose, and the rumor, and when the rumor ran along the shore, growled tigers on the loose. Woe to the weak canary that fluttered from its cage. Woe to the pampered Pekingese that faced growled tiger's rage. Woe to the bristly bandicoot that lurks on foreign ships. And woe to any cat whom growled tiger came to grips. But most to cats of foreign race his hatred had been vowed. The cats of foreign race and race, of foreign name and race, no quarter was allowed. The Persian and the Siamese regarded him with fear, because it was a Siamese that had mauled his missing ear. Now, on a peaceful summer night, all nature seemed at play. The tender moon was shining bright, the barge at Molesley lay. All in the balmy moonlight it lay rocking on the side, and Girl Tiger was disposed to show his sentimental side. His buckle mate Grumbuskin long since had disappeared, for to the bell at Hampton he had gone to wet his beard, and his bosom tumble Brutus he too had stolen away, and the yard behind the line he was prowling for his prey. In the forepeak of the vessel, Growled Tiger sat alone, concentrating his attention on the lady Grindlebone. And his raffish crew were sleeping in their barrels and their bunks, as the Siamese came creeping in their sampans and their junks. Growled Tiger had no eye or ear for aught but Griddlebone, and the lady seemed enraptured by his mainly baritone, disposed to relaxation, and awaiting no surprise, but the moonlight shone reflected from 100 bright blue eyes. And closer still and closer the sampan circled round, and yet from all the enemy there was not heard a sound. The lovers sang their last duet in danger of their lives, for the foe was armed with toasting forks and cruel carving knives. The day that the cats become armed is a day we should all fear. Then Gilbert gave the signal to his fierce Mongolian horde. With a frightful burst of fireworks, the chinks they swarmed aboard. Abandoning their sampans and their polaways and junks, they battened down the hatches on the crew within their bunks. Then Griddlebone she gave a screech he only likes what he finds for himself. So you'll catch him in it right up to the ears if you put it away on the larger shelf. The Rum Dummy Ducker is artful and knowing. The Rum Dummy Ducker doesn't care for a cuddle, but he'll leap on your lap in the middle of your sewing, for there's nothing he enjoys like a horrible muddle. Yes, the Rum Dummy Ducker is a curious cat, for there isn't any need for me to spout it, for he will do as he do, and there's no doing anything about it. Swiggity swoogity, he's coming for that sewing. The song of the Jellicles. Jellicle cats come out tonight. Jellicle cats come one, come all. The Jellicle moon is shining bright. Jellicles come to the Jellicle ball. Jellicle cats are black and white. Jellicle cats are rather small. Jellicle cats are merry and bright, and pleasant to hear when they caterwaul. Jellicle cats have cheerful faces. Jellicle cats have bright black eyes. They like to practice their airs and graces and wait for the Jellicle moon to rise. Jellicle cats develop slowly. Jellicle cats are not too big. Jellicle cats are roly-poly. They know how to dance a gavotte and a jig until the Jellicle moon appears. They make their toilet and take their repose. Jellicles wash behind their ears. Jellicles dry between their toes. Jellicle cats are white and black. Jellicle cats are moderate size. Jellicles jump like a jumping jack. Jellicle cats have moonlit eyes. They're quiet enough in the morning hours. They're quiet enough in the afternoon, reserving their Derbyshkurian powers. I mispronounced that. It's okay. To dance by the light of the Jellicle moon. Jellicle cats are black and white. Jellicle cats, as I said, are small. If it happens to be a stormy night, they will practice a caper or two in the hall. If it happens the sun is shining bright, you would say they had nothing to do at all. They are resting and saving themselves to be right for the Jellicle moon and the Jellicle ball. Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser were a very notorious couple of cats and knockabout clowns, quick change comedians, tightrope walkers, and acrobats. They had an extensive reputation. They made their home in Victoria Grove. That was merely the center of operation, for they were incurable, given to rove. They were very well known in the Cornwall Gardens and Lounston Place and Kensington Square. They had really a little more reputation than a couple of cats can very well bear. If the area window was found ajar and the basement looked like a field of war, if a tile or two came loose on the roof, which presently ceased to be waterproof, if the drawers were pulled out from the bedroom chests and you couldn't find one of your winter vests, or after supper one of the girls suddenly missed her Woolworth pearls, then the family would say, "It's that horrible cat." It was Mungo Jerry or Rumple Teaser, and most of the time they left it at that. Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser had a very unusual gift of the gab. They were highly efficient cat burglars as well, and remarkably smart at a smash and grab. They made their home in Victoria Grove. They had no regular occupation. They were plausible fellows, unlikely to engage if could you have sworn that it mightn't be both? And when you heard a dining room smash, or up from the pantry there came a loud crash, or down from the library came a loud ping, from a face that was commonly said to be Ming, then the family would say, now which was which cat? It was Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, and there's nothing at all to be done about that. Alright. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I feel like I don't like having my YouTube videos be longer than 20 minutes. For reasons. I'll be mysterious about that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you feel like you want to support me, I have a Patreon, I have an OnlyFans, all sorts of different stuff. Just check the links down below. And I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Anyone on the West Coast, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Please stay safe. I'm concerned about all of us, pretty much. So yeah, have a good evening, and I'll be back soon.